guys, welcome back. Sorry it's been a bit. I had some issues with the server after the previous update. I had to do a bunch of work on the server also just to get some mods updated and stuff like that. So this video will be about Omega Manager. Omega Manager is an easier option as to just any batch file script server that you're running. This will do everything for you. It will update your server. It will check for mod updates through force upstreams. It will literally manage your server for you. It takes away all the heavy workload that you typically have to do and sometimes can be an issue, right? So it's a much simpler way. Just so you know, previous to starting this video, I port forwarded all the ports I needed for this. Right, you could, or I could realistically run a DayZ server off my gaming rig upstairs. It's a big enough system to run that game, and I can also play off it too, right? But consider, right, like your internet, your service provider for your internet, consider your system. It would have to run all the time, so there's some pros and cons to it. DDoS is another thing too. I have a bunch of stuff set up on mine in the basement to help with mitigating that factor of it. So it's a good way to run test versions of your live server if you're hosting somewhere else, or it just depends really what you want to do with it. It's a good way to understand DayZ also at the same time, right? So like I said, my ports are already forwarded. I'm not going to go through that with you. It's specific to your ISP, right? So depending upon who your ISP is, it's different, right? In the way that you port forward. There's tons of videos up on that already. So it shouldn't be too hard in order for you to do that, right? So I'm going to put the links in the descriptions for all the file stuff you're going to need, or just the links, right? The first one here is a CF Tools wiki page, right? You're going to grab the latest version of Omega Manager. Save that file. What you will also have to do is, if you see Steam API key, you're gonna have to log in through Steam here to grab an API key for your server. The thing with this is, though, you want to consider is you don't want to run the DayZ server with an account that you're currently playing on. It can be hard to access it sometimes. It can give you a lot of problems, right? So typically want to have another account for your DayZ server, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a folder. We'll just call it test, okay? I'm going to grab that Omega Manager download, put it in there. What's going to happen is I'm going to run Omega Manager, and it's going to create the files necessary for this DayZ server, right? Steam CMD for all your downloads. It's going to put C++ in there. It's gonna throw all the files that you need or will be in that server location in order for this to run, right? So while it's doing that, what else? Oh yeah, so a couple of things you will need to do is you will need to go into your Defender firewall, change notifications, and you're gonna have to hit notify me in your private and notify me in your public settings, so you can allow DayZ to go in and out of your firewall. Already done that, right? So DirectX, accept it. It's going to download DirectX. That's another component that will be needed in there for your server to operate. The other thing you will have to do is, if you go into your date and time, go to region, go additional date and time, and then in here go to change date and time or number formats. Administrative, change system locale, the location, and see this part here, beta, use Unicode UTF-8. That has to be enabled for this to work. Omega Manager will not work without it, so make sure you have that done. I'm going to finish off here. It's going to write the rest of the files. Typically doesn't take too long. Right, here's the C++. It's going to give me an error because I already have it installed. So, it's fine. It's going to complete it. Okay, so then what it does is it creates a manager for your managers.cfg file for Omega. You don't need to change any of that. The only part you're really concerned with is username, API key, password. Okay, Your API key, where you're going to get that is if you go onto this page here, the wiki page, CF Tools, you're going to click in Steam API key, that link right there. Okay, it's going to bring you to right here, right? You're going to log in through your Steam, and then you're going to grab your API key. Once you have that API key, you're going to put it right here, paste it. Then you're going to use your username for the Steam account that you're using. And then you're going to put in your password. Once that's all in, save it. And then you're going to run Omega Manager again. What's going to happen is, since we set the mobile authenticator to false, it's going to send you a one-time Steam guard code to your email that Steam account is attached to. Okay, leave it as false. If you set it as true, you're going to get a mobile notification every time the server launches or updates or anything where it has to restart your servers, which is just a pain in the ass. So don't do it. So that's all being saved. Now I'm going to run Omega Manager. It is going to throw me an authentication code in a minute here. It usually doesn't take too long. And it's going to throw it to that account. So it doesn't typically take too long for you to build this server. It's pretty quick. All we're going to do for mods today is I'm just going to put Community Framework and VPP on for admin tools, just so you can see that the server is live and working. It's similar as to how you would add any mod. It'll grab the key for you. It'll put it in the keys folder. Also, you know, with that, the only files you'll work on, like I said earlier, would be your JSONs, anything in your profiles folder, right? So you could work on it right on the desktop that has your server running. We'll go over that in a later video, but the next two videos we'll put up one of them will be a CF Tools Cloud. Omega Manager and CF Tools Cloud together are amazing. You know, it's come a long way since the batch file stuff, and Dart is what we used to use for your Archon stuff, right? So what was that? So it's going to give me a code now, and after CF Tools Cloud, because there's a lot to go over in there, then I'll show you DayZ how to add it to your launcher so it shows up, how you can then work on it. There we go. So it's going to set up the server now. Doesn't take too long at all, like I said. We're going to let this launch here for a second. I'm going to have to actually go in and change something in my manager file here, since I have servers running in the basement. Just need to change a port so I can connect to it upstairs. Takes a few minutes to run through this. So what it's downloading right now is the deployable instance, which is copy of server files. All the basic files that you will need in order to deploy a directory or an instance of a server. So running through that, be typically good. So when you get environment on internal web server done, means you're good. Okay. I'm just going to shut that for a second. I'm going to go back into here. I needed to change this port here. I'm already using 8081, right? So let's fire it up again. There. Leave it here. Just verifying the install again. Yeah, like I said, man, Omega Manager makes it so easy. So much more easier than it was before, right? So once this is done here, we're going to log in through just the web interface. You can see environment on internal web server is done. So pull that up again, go into here, then local port, localhost 8081, change it, there we go. So as you can see, here it is, this is it. I'm going to minimize this a bit so you can see what's going on now. This is how you create a server. Deploy new instance. I'm going to name this, let's see, let's just call it, let's call it Cherry. I'm going to change game port because I know this is the port it's running on. And then I'm going to change the query port because I know this is the port it's running on. I'm going to change the archon on it for now. If you're going to put this as a live server, have a good password, have the one that's already created for you. Don't use test. So I'm just going to deploy it, confirm the new instance, and as you can see, I'm going to copy, create the firewalls, create the firewall rule for it. Not going to take long at all. It's already up. So as you can see, there's my instance right there, okay? So there's a couple things you're going to want to do in here, right? So server info, database, directory, uptime. It's not going to have much to report right now because it hasn't been live. It takes a bit for certain reports. The actions that you can follow from Omega Manager, you can start it, create a persistence backup, create a full backup, verify your files, test your webhooks, and do everything from here. Server configuration, let's call it Nomad. Okay, that way we can find it in the launcher. No game password for now. System time, I'm going to leave it as it is. If you want to have a specific time that the game starts at every time, with persistence or time persistence, well, with time persistence off, you could create that there. I have a specific time that I use that I prefer to use. The map that I'm using, you can change it here if you're using Banoff and Namalsk, Deer Isle. There's your accelerations. There's your time persistence. Third person, crosshair, voice chat, safe building states, auto storage. You can create more variables there. So disable personal light, whitelist, everything here. So log average frames per second. I don't want it every 10 seconds reporting that. No thank you. So the rest of that, and save it. Good. Go to the Omega consistence. Okay. So in here, there's nothing that you need to change, right? It's created it all for you. I just did with the backups. I don't like having too many backups. So I do backup once a day. It'll save it for 2 days. If I have an issue, I can revert. Yeah, I'll save it for 2. And then what we're gonna do here is, you don't need the rest of that, man. You want a deeper video on this stuff later, I will make one for you, right? Last but not least, this is what you're gonna do. So mod configuration, this is where you add your mods. It's similar to any of the graphical user interfaces that you use. So CF, add it. Okay, VPP, add it. And then there we go. So they're both here. They're not installed yet. This is where you can move your mods, right? So this is the order that they're going to start. You always want CF to start off first. So I'm going to save my changes, hit OK. I'm going to go back to my dashboard, see those install untracked mods. I have the mods in the command line, but I don't have them installed yet. So I'm going to install those 2 mods. You can see it right now. It's going to install all of that. They're installed, it's done. So now it's simple, man. Start your server. Gonna take a second, and there is the console you can see running. I'm gonna allow it, I'm gonna allow it. So it's reading, conversion of characters. Doesn't take long at all. There you go, it's already up and done. It's gonna unlock it now. There, so it's good to go now. Let's fire up DayZ. Right, so servers, let's check my LAN. Oh wait, LAN. There we go, Nomad test. There we go. Let's join it. I don't know how long this took. I don't know, probably 10-15 minutes. As you can see, server's up and running. You can add more mods. It's going to take more time, especially when you're getting into the trader stuff or anything that requires further work on JSONs or missions or anything like that, right? So should be pretty good here. Any issues? So guys, like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what video you want to see. One of the guys was asking for an expansion video too, so I'm going to start working on that pretty quick here. I just had to get my servers going. So as you can see, I'm playing on a live version that I just created. That is the test version. Right, so you would have to, you could hear, I'll show you right here actually. Easy to do. So what you will need to do if you want to have admin access to your server, you will have to shut it down here. Turn that off, we're good to go. Shut this down. So you open your directory here, but I also know where it is on my desktop, right? In the test file. So just shutting down. So what you're going to do is see if you go into server folders, churn, and then go to profiles, VPP, admin tools, permissions, so credentials. Delete that, create a password, man. Whatever you want it to be, something good though, right? Once your password is created, then go into super admins text, and you're going to put your Steam ID right there. Save it, close out. That way when you log in, you'll have access as an admin. So I don't know, hope you guys liked it. Like, subscribe, let me know what you want to see. We'll start working on some more videos, man. Hopefully have some up in a couple days. GG.